2 weeks before my wedding, my best friend confessed that the reason why me and my fiance got together and will be married is because of her. Throwaway account because everyone involved knows my main account. I don't know what to do. I've been sleepless for days because of this. I need to get this all off my chest or my heart might explode. My wedding is on the 19th and my bachelorette party was last Saturday and was organized by my best friend Lucy. I partied with my bridesmaids, had some shots, and they were so excited for me to marry the love of my life, Erwin. We've been together for 3 years. After the party, everyone was wasted and we went home, leaving Lucy and I in the Airbnb. I was not that drunk, at most tipsy, so I helped her clean up because I'll be staying the night with her too. While we were cleaning, she was very silent, which is very much not her. She was very active during the party, so I thought she was just tired. So I told her I can finish up and she can rest. So she went to the bedroom. While I was finishing the dishes, she returned to the kitchen and she told me that she needs to tell me something. So I stopped what I was doing. Then she said that she's sorry. She did not expect that Erwin will ask me for marriage because it was a bet gone wrong. I was confused and asked her to elaborate. But what she basically told me is that when I first introduced them to each other, she and Erwin had a bet that if he can get me to marry him, she will exclusively date him. Apparently, they have been secretly dating since before I met Erwin. Their relationship was toxic, so they have these constant breaks, but on this particular break, she allowed him to date anyone. That's when Erwin and I met. When I asked her why she's only telling me this now, she said that she felt guilty. She didn't want to hurt me, but she didn't want to take full accountability and acknowledged Erwin's part in this. She was trying to convince Erwin to come clean together, but he refused and told her nah, the bet was long gone because he was genuinely in love with me already. When I asked if Erwin knows how she feels about him, she answered no, but if I allow her, she'll confess her feelings for him. At that point, I just left. I had no energy left even if I want to slap her at that moment. I feel so played and betrayed and humiliated. The two closest people in my life made me a pawn to their sick games. I don't know what to do, where to start. I'm so confused. It's been 3 days and I haven't told anyone yet. Not even Erwin, who is in HK. Not even my parents. Lucy hasn't tried to contact me, and I think she didn't say anything yet to Erwin. The wedding is in 2 weeks. How do I face this? Here is some additional info from OP in the comments section. Hi, I've been reading comments and a lot of you have been helpful. Thank you for your kind words. When I wrote my original post, I was emotional. Maybe that's why I have omitted some important facts. Also, I am not a native English speaker, so maybe some stuff was lost in translation. Just want to add something here for context. Lucy and I have been friends for 11 years since high school. We even attended the same university, but with different courses. During college, we had a bit of a falling out due to our busy schedules, but after graduation, we reconnected. But she isn't as open to me now as she was before. When I ask about her love life, she'll say that she's not ready for dating, only to do casual flings. She once introduced me to her then boyfriend. So yes, I admit I was kind of being a crappy friend and did not keep up with her flings. I work corporate, and Lucy works remotely, so sometimes she stays for a month or so on an island or a beach, so we rarely see each other. But we always get together when she's in my city. Also, Lucy is not my maid of honor. My sister is my maid of honor, but she's still in university for exams, so Lucy took over planning the bachelorette party. When I said that I introduced Lucy and Erwin to each other, I meant I introduced Erwin as my boyfriend to Lucy. Sorry if that's confusing. As for Lucy and Erwin's relationship, I don't know the timeline yet. Update. Hey y'all, a lot of you here DM'd me for an update, so here it is. I figured I'd owe everyone an update, especially those who reached out. A little history of how Erwin and I met. We met at a company event. My company was the host and his was one of our clients. We bonded over the after party and exchanged numbers. Days after, he added me on Facebook. I actually saw that he and Lucy were mutual friends, so I asked him if they knew each other. He answered yes, and they met during their internship days, but they weren't close. I asked Lucy too, and she confirmed it too, so I didn't make a big deal of it. We began casually dating, no labels, just to see where things went. I know that he's been seeing someone else at this time, as I did too. But when we admitted to wanting to make things official between us, we broke up our casual flings, and the rest is history. I appreciate everyone who reached out. Thank you for the kind messages, and it made me realize to think of my situation logically. So I did. And yes, Erwin and I already talked. I picked him up from the airport yesterday and I told him about Lucy's confession. He went pale, but he was calm. He told me to ask everything I want to know and he will answer truthfully. I'll try to summarize everything here. 1. Did he know that I was Lucy's best friend when we met? No. They didn't talk much about their personal lives when they were together, but he knows that Lucy's best friend's name is my name. But when we met, he didn't really put the pieces together. 2. How long were they dating before we met? He did not keep count because they were on and off again, but they were casually seeing each other for around 4 months before we met. And in his mind, they were never official, as they didn't label their relationship. He did try to pursue her, but she kept messing up with his head, so when she allowed him to date when they were on a break, he thought of it as a way out. 3. Did they really bet on me? Yes, but he did not take it seriously. He also did not initiate it. 4. When did the bet happen? It happened days after I introduced him as my friend to Lucy. He admitted that since we were not still exclusively dating, he still saw Lucy. Lucy initiated the bet, and if he does win, she will know that he is mature enough to seriously date. 5. When did their relationship end? A month or so before we made our relationship official. He already broke things off with Lucy because he was starting to fall for me. Lucy took it well, and he did not even bring up the bet. 6. Why all of a sudden did Lucy bring up the bet? Lucy started bringing it up after we made our engagement official. He had admitted to forgetting about the bet until she reminded her of it. So when Lucy reached out to come clean, he refused because he didn't really think it was that serious. 7. Is he aware of Lucy's feelings? No. He genuinely thinks that Lucy is happy for us. Right now, I don't know where to go from here. I believe him, but I just don't like the idea that the foundation of our relationship is from a bet. Whether it be serious or not, it's still not good. Can we rebuild trust from here? I don't know, but I'm willing to try. Aside from the issue, Erwin has been a great boyfriend, and I don't want to make harsh decisions about us and regret it in the end. What I do know now is that we need to call off the wedding. He told me that he'll understand if I don't want to go on with our wedding anymore. But he asked me to consider our relationship because he loves me, and he'll do anything to regain my trust back. I also learned that Lucy actually tried to contact Erwin days after the bachelorette party, but Erwin missed her calls. She's still not reaching out to me, but I don't care anymore. Many of you have said that she is sabotaging our relationship, that this is her last-ditch effort to have Erwin by herself, and I think you're right. It just hurts that our 11 years of friendship have to end this way. So there. I think this will also be my last update. Everything from here on will be Erwin and I's decision. Thank you everyone for listening. This girl said, sorry for my English, it's not my native language. Nah, we need some native English speakers to apologize for their English. Have you heard some people on the internet? But anyway, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this? What would you do in OP's shoes? Because it was made off of a bet, but it seems like Erwin wasn't really invested in it. It seems like he took it up, but only because he was like, yeah, whatever, I just want to leave the relationship. But now OP found out, and understandably so, is a little hurt by it. But it seems like Erwin had good intention. Yeah, I mean, she said he's a good boyfriend except for this one instance. So it seems like he wasn't trying to hurt or deceive OP. But anyway, what do you guys think? Next story. Story number 2. I made a big mistake asking out a deaf girl. So I am a university student learning ASL. Been learning for about a year now. Going well. Started going to ASL socials last semester, and it's nice to learn, though very daunting at first. Last month, I met a girl who was deaf, and we started talking. Turns out she goes to my university too, which was cool. She's super cute, and I was super nervous. But we ended up exchanging numbers, and we talk a lot. Last week, I decided to ask her out while we were grabbing lunch at the cafeteria. I asked if she wanted to date, and she got really upset. She looked mad and sad at the same time and just left and wouldn't answer my texts. Next time I had class, I asked my professor if I signed everything right. Turns out, I asked her if she wanted to have sex, not date. I am an idiot. Update. Hey y'all, I didn't expect this last post to explode so much. That was unexpected. Wanted to thank everyone that gave advice or shared stories. Both made me feel better, even if I didn't get to reply to you. There were also some less nice people in my DMs that were kinda being creepy, so I'll clarify that yes, me and her are both women. though the people in my DMs would probably call us females. Okay, on to the update. So, I texted her shortly after posting my update explaining the mistake. Apparently, what went wrong is that after I signed the F word, she signed it back to clarify, and I said yes. She said she forgives me because I'm cute, but not to solicit her in the future, to which I said I'll do my best. I asked her out for coffee this weekend and made sure to point out that I'm asking over text so I don't mess up that sign too. She said yes, so we have our first official date this weekend. I'm super excited. Also, after that, we kept texting and talking about if we drink. Neither of us do, so I joked that I don't have to worry about messing up the sign for alcohol either. That netted me 4 laughing emojis. A pretty good sign if you ask me. Final update. Firstly, this isn't a bad update. Just had some people who wanted an update, so I decided to do one last one. Thank you everyone for the kind words in the last 2 posts. So, we've been a couple for months now. Things are going very well. She's taught me a lot of fun words my professor doesn't. She makes me very happy. It's hard to focus when she's trying to teach me new signs. I just get distracted by how cute she is. Although she tells me that excuse stopped working after the second time I used it. I went to hers for a Christmas Eve dinner where I met her family for the first time. I was worried that her family would think it's too soon for me to go to something special like that, but her parents asked her to invite me. I think her parents thought it would make me less stressed, but the stress to impress was daunting. Her brother is hearing, and her parents are deaf, and I was nervous for sure, but it was good practice and experience. I think I made good impressions, which is nice. After dinner, her brother, and I hung out. He and I talked about video games and nerded out over Baldur's Gate 3 for a while. My girlfriend teasingly said she felt like a third wheel. Anyway, that's the update. Things are going very well, and I love my girlfriend. Thanks everyone for all the advice and courage to actually go back and talk to her. I was so embarrassed, and I almost gave up. So glad I didn't. Well, this was a nice little adorable story, and I didn't feel sad or angry at the end. Isn't that great? We don't always get that. Question for you guys. Would you date a deaf person, provided you didn't know sign language? Would you go out of your way to learn the language, get to know the person, or would you just be like, nah, that's not really worth my time? I'm curious what people have to say. For me, I don't think I would. Not because I hate deaf people, but because when it comes to learning another language, I'm just stupid. Anyway, next story. Story number 3. I, 31F, think my husband, 29M, and my sister, 28F, are too close for comfort. 8 months ago, my sister, 28F, moved back into town. A small backstory. She has not lived here in 10 years, as she originally left for college and never came back. We grew apart. We talked maybe once a year, and I haven't seen her physically in 4 years. I, 31F, have been married to my husband, 29M, for 8 years, married for 3. She has met him twice in the entire duration of my relationship with him. He is a quiet and serious man who only opens up in front of me and a few of his select friends. She was struggling to get a job here, so I thought I'd be a good person and ask my husband if he could maybe help her find a job at his company since they work in the same type of field. Fast forward to current times, they actually work in the same department now. He's been acting more closed off towards me lately, but he claims everything is fine when I ask him what is wrong. We had our traditional family Christmas meal yesterday, and at first he tried to get out of it. This is not something he's ever tried to do, and I was very confused by this. After some convincing, he finally agreed to come along. My sister pulled him aside a few times, and they were in a very deep conversation, as if the rest of us didn't exist. When I approached them, every time they would both jump a little, and when I'd ask what they were talking about, they would say, "A work project that's near deadline." I was feeling a little off about their behavior, but the one thing that got me the most was at one point he got up to go get himself another drink. She was sitting in a chair that was next to the kitchen door, so he had to pass her to go to the kitchen. When he was near her, she put her hand up / reached towards him, and he caressed her palm and lightly grabbed her fingers as he walked past her. She looked up at him with a big smile. He looked down at her and nodded his head. As soon as he was out of sight, she turned her head towards me and smirked at me. When it was time for dinner, there was a main dining table that seats most of the guests. There was a second table that could seat an additional 4 people. She sat down at the side table away from everyone else. I got my plate and sat down at the main table, but saw that he sat down at the side table with her. I told him there was a seat next to me, and he told me he wanted to sit where he was at. I decided to join them, and they went from actively talking to each other to just sitting in silence while we ate. I later asked him what that hand touching was about, and he said, "It's just a high five." I said it didn't look like a high five, and he said that's all it was. I have never had any reason to suspect him of cheating, but this has me feeling on edge. I have been battling with myself to investigate further. Another thing is that he doesn't focus that strongly when he and I talk. It's always just short answers and lighthearted. They were having some intense conversations where he was hanging on her every word and giving her in-depth responses. Would this make you feel like something is going on? There were several instances where they were both on their phone texting at the same time as well, and glancing at each other sometimes. That could be nothing, but after everything else, it made me feel uneasy. Update. I apologize for not updating sooner. I've been busy getting things sorted out. After my first post on a Tuesday, I had asked my husband if he'd go on a little weekend getaway with me. We went up to a cabin in the mountains. Neither of us had cell phone service. I planned for that, as I wanted to make sure I had his full attention. The first night went fantastic, and I almost forgot everything about my concerns with my sister. When we woke up the next morning, we cooked breakfast together, but he was rather quiet. I asked him if he'd go on a little walk with me, which he agreed to. When we reached the lake, there were some large rocks that you could sit on. We both sat on the same rock, and we sat there in silence for what felt like forever. I finally got the courage to bring up the concerns I had with my sister and him, and his face went white. And he admitted to falling in love with my sister. He said that it all started because of how much they have in common. They spend more time at work together than he does with me at home. He said he feels like he can talk to her about anything, and it never gets tiring. He said he's never felt more alive than he does when he's with her, and they started having a physical affair in October. The emotional affair began in June, after working with her for a couple of months since the end of April. He apologized for hurting me and deceiving me and betraying me. I asked him what he wanted to do about it, and he said that as much as he knows it will hurt me to say, he no longer is in love with me. The most painful thing I've ever heard in my life is when he said that the way he feels for her made him realize that he's never once felt that way for me, even at the time when he loved me the most. He said it's not comparable by any measure, and he doesn't feel right staying married to me. We are splitting in agreement that the marriage is over. But yes, I am heartbroken. They have both applied to transfer jobs to a different city with the same company, and he offered to let me keep the house. I told him that I didn't want the house because it reminds me of him and us. We have split the finances, and he is giving me more money than he is taking. We are getting ready to list it for sale, and I've been packing and doing odds and ends like painting. He said I could keep the full amount of the house sale. New carpet and flooring comes tomorrow, and the movers come this afternoon. I found a small house for myself to start fresh, but I know it will take some time for me to not be so heartbroken. My sister, on the other hand, is not handling it as kindly as he is, and she is gloating. She even accidentally sent me a photo of both of them where you can tell she is in heaven because she won him away from me. She changed her profile picture to a photo of her taking a selfie, smiling, looking very smug as he is kissing her forehead. I unfollowed her on TikTok because she's now posting videos and photos of them together. Some of them are from months ago, and it kicked me in the heart. I asked him if he could please ask her to stop. He said he would talk to her about it, but nothing has changed. I have removed myself from social media for now, except for Reddit. My mother is favoring my sister's side, saying that she's not posting those things to hurt me, and my sister deserves to be happy. My mom said it's my fault for looking, and I need to stop being so petty. My father is taking the white flag and said he'd like to stay out of it. He said it's not right what my sister did, but she's still his daughter. He said he won't accept their relationship and he is here for me for whatever I need, but he won't be in the middle of this. I respect his decision on that. I'm not sure it's an easy place to be in. Thank you all for the kind words and all of the advice that was given. I probably didn't add everything, but my brain is kind of foggy at the moment. So, this is one of those stories where I would like to know about the dynamic of these sisters growing up and throughout all of their lives because what? I feel like she came after him only because they were married. Like, maybe she does enjoy him, but I feel like she took bigger pride in the fact that she took him away from her own sister. And it seems like she kinda is after accidentally sending photos and taking all these cutesy accidental photos. Man, screw this lady! And mom, you're not off the hook either. But if the husband says he's happy, then I feel like, everyone is entitled to find and be with someone that makes them happy. But man, that is a messed up way to go about it. And he had an affair. Ugh, gross. I highly anticipate the update in a year from now where she mentions that something went horribly wrong in their relationship. And I will wait for that day. But anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.